debate. Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the Skill Game, brought to you by Sleeper. We'll get to the Sleeper app here in a second, but before we do that, let's talk about tonight's Thursday night football contest, which we will be making picks for. It's an AFC West family business matchup between the Denver Broncos and the Vegas Raiders. Two teams heading in opposite directions. Raiders just can't seem to find a way to win the close games this season. Been in a number of them, the Chicago game, last week's game in overtime versus Jacksonville, just to name a couple. This is a team that defensively plays hard. Max Crosby is a ton to deal with, but they leave a lot to be desired offensively. They've just traded away their number one receiver in Jacoby Myers. Really don't know who they're going to get the football to on the outside anymore. Not that that really matters, because the star of the show is Brock Bowers, always has been Brock Bowers. They have to find a way to be more effective in the run game, or at least get more touches for Ashton Genty and get him out in space. He scored last week on a pass, but they can't run the football inside the 5 to save their life. So this is a team right now that is struggling in the run game, struggling to put the ball in the end zone on the ground, which is important if you want to score in the red zone consistently, something the Raiders have struggled with throughout the course of this season. But Bowers is coming off of his best day from a scoring standpoint last week with 3 touchdowns. He's going to be the focal point of their offense tonight if they're going to have any shot to win this game and pull the upset on the road against the Denver Broncos. Meanwhile, if you're the Denver Broncos, you're riding high after losing your first 2 games of the season in excruciating fashion at the gun on field goals. You then have pretty much bounced back. I think you're winners of 6 straight now, if I'm not mistaken. One of the hottest teams in football. Trying to think if there's a loss somewhere in there. But the big win against Philadelphia in comeback fashion, the big win against the Giants in comeback fashion. You win last week against the Houston Texans in a rock fight. This team has shown the ability to win in a multitude of ways, whether it's having to be explosive and dynamic, which they did against Cincinnati and Dallas, or win a rock fight, as I mentioned, a low-scoring defensive struggle last week against Houston on the road, or come back after trailing big in the fourth quarter against both the Giants and the Eagles. This team has found a way to get it done, and I don't think they'll need any of that tonight against the Vegas Raiders, but you know how family business goes. Anything can happen. All bets are off, and so they've got to be sharper than they were last week. They left a lot of opportunities out there. That's a really good Texans defense. That is not what the Raiders are going to present tonight. But there is no all-world cornerback, former, reigning defensive player of the year, Patrick Surtain II in this game. He's out. Not that it's going to matter. Again, as I said at the top of the show, the Raiders don't really have anybody to threaten them on the outside. You would like to see a guy like Trey Tucker be able to get vertical, give them something that they can stretch the football field with, to open up maybe some opportunities to run the football against this Denver Broncos defense. I just don't know if we'll see that happen or not. This feels like a game that the defense will be able to dominate, get to Geno Smith, fluster him, sack him, maybe force him into a mistake or two, stymie the Raiders' run game, and really be able to set the tone defensively, which will allow their offense to not have to press, to kind of move the football methodically, not have to feel like they've got to carry the show in this game. This doesn't feel like a total annihilation tonight. This doesn't feel like last week's game where we saw the Dolphins be dominated at home by the Ravens. This does feel like a game that's going to be semi-competitive throughout, but the Broncos are going to win this game comfortably. I think I see this game kind of playing out somewhere in that 31 to 17 range, 31-16, 31-13. And I know 31-13 or even 31-17 for that matter doesn't sound very close, but the score doesn't always indicate how dominant a performance was or how close a game actually was. I think this could easily be a 20-17 game, or 20-10 game going into the fourth, which it's 2 scores, but the Raiders could have the football with a chance to cut it to 1 score, and then that doesn't happen, and the Broncos go and, score a touchdown, whatever, and kind of push the game out of reach. It feels like one of those types of games, though. But it'll feel like the Raiders really never had a shot. Maybe they take an early lead. I doubt that. But it'll feel like they never really had a chance to win this game. Sort of like that one that we watched with the Raiders and the Chargers earlier this season. I think it was week 2. That game took place where the Raiders were never totally out of it, but they made so many mistakes that they never really had a chance to actually win the game. But the final score wasn't a blowout. I think it's going to be something like that tonight. But we'll see. This Broncos offense, when they get it revved up and they're clicking on all cylinders, they can be a really dynamic offense. And, guys are really starting to step up for them. So we'll see if this game gets out of control. But there's no doubt in my mind that the Denver Broncos win this game and continue to stay relevant in that AFC West. As a matter of fact, what is their record? 7-2. I thought they had only lost those 2 games at the beginning of the season. So they're 7-2 right now. Haven't had their bye week yet. Matter of fact, they don't have their bye until week 12. Then they come off the bye against the Commanders in week 13. So that's correct. They haven't had their bye yet. So they're one of the hottest teams in football after losing, I want to say, their first 2 games of the season, both by, walk-off field goals, one self-inflicted against Indianapolis. I think they've won 7 straight. If not, they've won 5 straight. If that game came in week 3, maybe it did. After starting 1-0, they might have lost 2 straight and were 1-2, and then they won, 6 in a row or whatever. Either way, they're really hot, and I don't see that stopping tonight. So with that said, let's get to the skill game brought to you by Sleeper. Wrong one.
The skill game brought to you by Sleeper.
All right. So Sleeper is a fantasy sports and real money gaming app that focuses on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become one of the fastest organically growing fantasy platforms in the world, with over 10 million active users in 2025. And if you've been on this app, you know why. If you haven't, here's an opportunity for you to see why. Go to the link in the description of this and every single video that I do. There is a link that will take you to where you can download this app, whether you have an Android or an iPhone. And then after downloading it, make sure that Sleeper, before you even download it, make sure Sleeper is available in your area, available in over 25 states in the US. Once that's done, then you verify you are who you say you are. They're going to give you $20 free to use on this app. And as we know, it doesn't take much to win a lot of money on this app. So also, I would recommend that you use my promo code, not just because it's my promo code. I'm telling you that this promo code is going to get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. So you don't get to do this a second time. So don't put $25 in and then they give you an additional $25. Use the full $100. Let them give you an additional $100. Now you got $220 because they're going to give you $20 for just downloading the app and verifying that you are who you say you are. They're going to give you $20 free. Then they're going to give you an additional match on whatever you put in on your first deposit if you use my promo code LTN. Put in 100, get you 220, and now you're rolling for the rest of the season. College basketball is in full effect. NBA is in full swing. NFL, hockey, if you go that route. Look, there's so many opportunities. $220 can take you a long way on this Sleeper app. So with that said, I've already made a ticket for this particular game. This is a weird game. I really don't really know how to react to this game, so to speak, because so I'll show you my first ticket. And so because the NBA only has one game tonight, and it's a game that I don't love necessarily, I only did one ticket for that game. So I've already done one here, and I think I'm going to do a second ticket with you guys. I thought about just showing you this ticket and getting out of here, but I think I'm going to do another ticket. That one might not be like a realistic ticket. It might be a little bit out there, but whatever. So I'm heavy on RJ Harvey right now. He is emerging as a big time playmaker for this Denver Broncos offense. I thought that he would when he was drafted out of UCF, and it's finally starting to come to fruition. They've really leaned on him heavily over the last 2-3 weeks or so. Had the 3-touchdown game. I think it was 3 touchdowns. If it wasn't 3, it was definitely 2 against Dallas a couple of weeks ago. Had another touchdown receiving this past week. I think he had a touchdown the week before the Dallas game. So he's starting to become a huge part of this offense. They're looking for ways to get him the football. So I'm heavy on him. I'm heavy on Brock Bowers, and I'm just always looking at Ashton Jeanty to be able to make something happen. So what I've effectively done here is RJ Harvey, anytime touchdown. RJ Harvey, longest run, 8.5 yards. Because I think he is going, or longest reception, excuse me. They throw him the ball out of the backfield. Not that they don't hand it to him, but he's more likely to have a big play out of the backfield receiving than he is rushing. So RJ Harvey with a touchdown in this game at some point, and also a catch of 9 yards or longer. With no one really to stop Courtland Sutton, I feel like in this game the Raiders don't have a big time primary corner. I feel like he should be at least able to catch the ball 3 times in this game. So I've got Courtland Sutton for 3 catches, and then J.K. Dobbins. I think they're going to wear this Raiders defense down, and at some point he's going to break a run longer than 17 yards, or longer than 16 yards, so 17 yards or more. I think that's going to happen at some point in this game. And then Troy Franklin, that's the guy that they usually stretch the football field with vertically. He's a guy that can work the intermediate area. He can get vertical, deep. I've got him for a catch of 20 yards or more in this game. And then on the Raiders side, like I said, I'm heavy on Brock Bowers right now. He's back. He's healthy, and you saw it last week against Jacksonville. So I've got him for at least 5 catches in this game or more. I've got him for an anytime touchdown. That's not usually what they look to Brock Bowers to do. He usually doesn't score, but after last week's breakout performance, I'm hoping that this is a sign of things to come for him to start hitting pay dirt. And then Ashton Jeanty, I got his longest rush of 13.5 yards. That one might be the one that sinks this ticket when it's all said and done, because the Raiders don't run the football all that effectively. I'm just hoping there's one time where they can get him a seam and he can pop it. And this is not a dominant Broncos rush defense by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm just hoping that they can pop one for like 15 yards in this game. I don't care if it's on a 3rd and 30 and they give him a draw that he runs for 15 yards. I just need a 15-yard run somewhere, 14-yard run somewhere in here. And I think it can happen. So, but that's the one that I'm looking at like, probably shouldn't have done that. That's the one that I'm really regretting right now. But, we'll see. I'm hoping that Jeanty can pop one for about 15 yards in this game. And so that's what the ticket looks like. But let's just go in here and see if we can, make something shake on this ticket if we make another one. So they're giving away Courtland Sutton receiving yards. They pulled it down. Those don't look bad. There's also, there was earlier another promo here. Courtland Sutton, there's the Brock Bowers one, 65.5 yards, and they're giving you a 2 times 2 multiplier boost. Yeah, I'm not too sure about the Brock Bowers. Oh, I'm not too sure about the Jeanty 54 yards rushing, but I do really like the Brock Bowers 65.5 yards receiving. Now, will the Broncos load up on him to take him away knowing that there's no one else? Probably so. That's still not going to stop Brock Bowers from getting his, as long as they can protect Geno Smith. That's the thing I worry about. But I do like Brock Bowers. I do like Brock Bowers on the receiving yards. So we're going to go ahead and start our ticket off with that. They're giving it to us. Let's take it. See, Bo Nix, I like him for 2 touchdown passes in this game. Let's see. What else am I a fan of here? I like trying to stay away from the blatantly obvious. I think Evan Ingram. I really think Evan Ingram can have an impact on this game. I'm wondering, should I go yards, 30 yards in this game receiving, or should I? He didn't have any catches last week. after having a stellar game the week before. And really, as you can see, he's had 36, 42, 42, and 33 yards the previous 4 weeks before last week's donut. And he was wide open for a touchdown. Bo Nix missed him. It probably would have been like a 23-yard touchdown catch, maybe even longer. I might have been underestimating how far away they were from the end zone. It would have been 20-something yards for sure. So I'd like him to bounce back in this game. I really do. So let's see. How many catches do they have him on? 4 catches. Am I more excited about 4 catches or 30 yards? The multiplier on the 4 catches is more, but he might not have 4 catches in this game. Now, let's see. He had 4 catches against Dallas, 5 against the Giants, 5 against the Jets, 4 against Philly. So before last week's donut, he was averaging roughly 4 catches, 4.5 catches a game. So he could just get right back to act, that action right there. And it would be worth the multiplier. I'm going back and forth. If I'm trying to be safe, you just take the yards. I'm not looking to be safe on this ticket. I'm really not. So let's go and go with the 4 receptions in this game. So I've got the tight end starring in this game. Brock Bowers, 5 or more receptions, and Evan Ingram at least 4 in this game. So you know what? You know what would be even better? I told you this is going to be an unsafe ticket. Don't do anything that I'm doing right now. This is not a good ticket to try to win money on. How about an Evan Ingram touchdown? He hasn't scored since what? Week 4? He hasn't scored since week 4 against Philadelphia. How about an Evan Ingram touchdown tonight? I'm with it. Bo Nix missed him last week. Why the hell not? To hell with the yards and the safe shit. Let's go Evan Ingram anytime touchdown tonight. Let's do that. You know what else I was looking at? Now, this is ridiculous, right? The Raiders just got, so let's go to anytime touchdowns. The Raiders just got Tyler Lockett. And Geno Smith tried to throw it to him in the end zone for a 2-point conversion last week. And he was wide open, and it got batted down at the line of scrimmage. He would have caught it back in the end zone. What about a Tyler Lockett anytime touchdown tonight? Somebody's got to catch a touchdown. Now, I've already got Brock Bowers on 1 ticket. It's either going to be him or Trey Tucker if it's a receiver, right? If it's a receiver, which the Raiders just struggle to get the ball in the end zone to any of these guys. But if it's going to be a receiver, it's going to be Lockett or it's going to be Trey Tucker. Something tells me Tyler Lockett anytime touchdown tonight. Why not? All right. Again, this is a very unsafe ticket. Once again, reminder, do not do anything that you see me doing right now. This is not a safe ticket. I'm going to put 2 more. I think I'm going to put 2 more on this ticket, and then we're going to get out of here because it's already at a pretty nice clip with the anytime touchdowns that I put together. Let's do some. Let's look at the receptions. I'm a big receptions guy. See if there's anything we like here. So we like RJ Harvey on 2.5 receptions. I think he's going to catch the ball out of the backfield at least 3 times tonight. So we like that. See if anybody else has anything. I think I like Genty catching it 3 times out of the backfield, but we'll hold off on that for now. I think I like Pat Bryant catching it 3 times tonight, but we'll hold off on that as well. Somebody's got to step up in the absence of Jacoby Myers. I'm thinking Jack Besh is going to be the guy that gets more opportunities. I don't want my ticket to hinge upon Jack Besh getting 2 catches tonight, but somebody else has got to play. Somebody else has got to get more clock, and maybe it just might be Tyler Lockett. We know Pete Carroll is a fan of Tyler Lockett. They go way back to their Seattle days, and it might just be Tyler Lockett that takes those reps. But what if it's Jack Besh? I don't want to bank on it being Jack Besh. So we'll go Genty for the 3 catches, and we're going to stop right there. We don't need to do anything else with the absurdity of Evan Ingram anytime touchdown and Tyler Lockett anytime touchdown. This thing's already up to $823. So we don't need to, you know what? Let's see. Let's find something super safe that we can add on to this thing. There's got to be something like we really truly believe in that's super safe that that we can add here that won't affect the ticket, right? It won't hurt the ticket because we know it's going to happen. Let's see what we can find that's going to happen. I don't know if there's anything here that you can like truly hang your hat on other than Brock Bowers catches, and you can't take the catches because you've already got them for receiving yards with the promo that they're giving us. So see, like, you know what I thought up to myself, and this is crazy. I shouldn't do this. Geno Smith has to throw an interception, right? It just feels inevitable. What if he doesn't throw one tonight? What if he doesn't throw an interception tonight? What if he stays completely clean? I highly doubt that. Geno Smith can't stay away from turning the football over. He's going to throw at least one interception. So if I want to play it safe, which this ticket is not safe, then I would just say take a Geno interception and keep it pushing. What if I just take Geno to not throw an interception? I thought about this long and hard. On my first ticket, I was like, do you want to wreck this ticket or what? I'm going to keep Geno off of this thing. I'm just going to stay away from the interceptions altogether. Just Quan says, don't do it. You said Bo pass attempts? Let's take a look at Bo's pass attempts. I don't know if they'll let me take his pass attempts and passing touchdowns. So he's got 32.5 pass attempts. That's too many attempts on a game where they may be able to just run the football down the Broncos' throats. I mean, down the Raiders' throats. Let's see about the rush attempts for J.K. Dobbins. 16.5. That's a lot. Let's see if we can bring that number down. Nope, they won't let us bring that number down. I was gonna say if we could bring that number down on J.K. Dobbins' rush attempts, then I wouldn't have an issue with that. What about a J.K. Dobbins anytime touchdown? I feel like he could score tonight too on the ground, but let's not add any more touchdowns. We've already been absurd with the touchdowns, so I think we're done. I don't see anything here that they won't let me change the rushing attempts for JK. I would love to have gotten it down to like 12 or 13, just to feel safe. What about Genty's rush attempts? 14. I don't really love anything here. Maybe the receiving yards. I actually like that. 17.5 receiving yards for Genty. They're going to throw him the ball out of the backfield. He had 47 against Jacksonville, including like a 15, 16-yard touchdown catch. I think I like that. Let's go. Oh, we already got him for 2.5 catches. Wow. So do I like the 3 catches or do I like the 17.5 yards? I'll just leave it at 2.5. It's easier to achieve. No reason to mess with that. So I think we're good. What about Geno Smith rush yards? Geno's not a runner. See what they got from Geno Smith rush yards. I might take less on Geno's rush yards. Then of course Geno would run for 13 yards tonight, of course, if I take him on less. But as you can see, like Geno's not trying to run nowhere, man. He's really not. And against this Denver defense, I really don't think he's going to be able to. But let me just stick with what I got, man. My shit is already crazy as is. Somebody said Nick Bonito for a sack. I thought about that earlier. Thought about Nick Bonito for a sack tonight. That feels real. Zach Allen, Nick Bonito. He hasn't had a sack in a minute. Nick's due for one. Let's do it. Let's add Nick Bonito for a sack tonight. I like it. Now this ticket is totally absurd. We've done it. So we've got Brock Bowers for 66 yards receiving. We've got Bo Nix for 2 pass touchdowns. Evan Ingram for 4 catches. Evan Ingram for an anytime touchdown. Tyler Lockett for an anytime touchdown. RJ Harvey for 3 catches. Ashton Genty for 3 catches. So the running backs both get involved in this game from a pass catching standpoint. And then a Nick Bonito sack. I like it. Let's see if we can throw we can't throw a promo on top of this because we already have the Brock Bowers promo. wonder if it's smarter to take the Brock Bowers promo off and add. It's only 20%, so I don't know if that's going to benefit us at all. Where is his catch number? I think it was at 7.5, 6.5. Ouchie. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. I hate to leave a promo. How long? Yeah, I hate to leave a 20% boost promo and not put it to use. Let's see if we can find something else with Brock. I don't see anything else here that I really love with him. So everything else is blocked. And none of them are big anyway. I could go with him anytime touchdown like I did on the last ticket, but I'm not a big put multiple things on different tickets or the same thing on multiple tickets, because if it doesn't happen, then it's killed more than one ticket. I hate that. So anyway, yeah, I'll just leave it alone. Let's get it. Maxed it out at 8. This has no chance of hitting, by the way. 0. Let's do it anyway. All right. So that, my friends, is sleeper. I'm hoping the other one hits. The other one is the real ticket. This one's a fun one. Let's see what happens, right? That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the Skill Game, brought to you by Sleeper. Use my promo code LTN to get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. Go get it.
The Skill Game, brought to you by Sleeper.
All right, so I got the Broncos winning the game tonight. I think it'll be a lot closer early. Broncos pull away late. It's family business, so I don't expect them to just blow them out right out of the gate. But I do expect this to be a Broncos win pretty comfortably when it's all said and done, and they improve to 8-2 on the season. We'll see how I did on my picks a little bit later on the overtime show. Hopefully, I'll see you then. Until then, I'm your man Louie T, signing off. Until then, you guys have a good one. Take care. Peace.